I will just give a little introduction. I'll just tell my name, a little introduction about myself. So my name is Choma Claire Okafor. And today I will be taking us on modeling in data analysis, Power BI to be precise. I know last week, Inka gave us some exercise to do. I don't know how many people that were there in that class last week. I don't know if we were in that class last week. Can you? Oh, we just have 3 people on board. Okay, Vera and Ona. I don't know. Were you there last week in the class last week? Hi, Vera. Hi,
I
Ona.
was there. Hi.
Oh no.
I was
What
there.
the
I was part of the
hell?
class, but I didn't get to do it because I was having
No.
challenges with my machine.
Okay, with your machine. When you say your machine, what are you referring to now? Your
My
system?
laptop. My laptop.
Okay.
My laptop had had issues, so I had to take it to be repaired. But I
Oh,
already got it repaired now.
okay. Okay. That's cool. That's cool. But you have your Power BI because you might be doing some practicals as well, learning.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Okay. Good. Vera, what of you? Were you there last week? Hi, Vera.
Hi. It's Vera who was speaking.
Oh, really? Sorry. Sorry. Okay. Ona. Ona,
Hello.
good evening.
I can hear you. Yeah, so I was here last week and yeah, I did the assignment.
Okay. Beautiful. Okay. I know last week part of the assignment was to go and research on import and direct entry, direct query, and then the other one was to clean up a particular data set. Can
Yeah.
you give us like just talk about it 1 or 2 minutes so that we can just proceed for today's class?
For the import and direct query, right?
Yes.
Okay. I didn't really read much about it, but I'll tell you what I read about it and then what I understood. So, based on my understanding, it feels like the import query is more or less like what we did last week, like where you have the data sets in the Power BI itself. But for the direct query, it's like you're having a connection to to another source. So I would say, for example, like a website, for example. So you're having a connection to a website and pulling data from the website into your Power BI. So the information for direct query isn't the data isn't directly sitting in the Power Query cache as it were. But for the import query, the data is sitting in Power Query. And another, so that was my overall understanding. But based on the differences, some of the things I read was that for import query, it's usually very faster, like to access let me say data availability is usually faster, and it makes sense because the data is sitting in direct query itself, unlike where you have a connection. So if you have connection issue or whatever connection issues, then that might have an impact on data availability. Then I also read something about the size of your data set. So for the import query is actually smaller than for direct query. So you have, I think, about 1 gigabyte for import query, but for the direct query, you have a larger allowance for your data set. Then for refreshes as well, for your direct query, you can refresh, like refreshes can happen, every time 15 minutes, like that. But for import query, you have a maximum of 8 refreshes per day that is permitted. And think I think that's about it. There was something I read, but I didn't really understand, and well, I couldn't really translate it. So it was something about it is possible to change import query to direct query, but it is So I read something like that, but I didn't really understand it. I just couldn't interpret it for it to make sense to me.
Okay, awesome. Thank you, Anna. You did a very good job. So basically, what you've said is,
Please, can I request for something? Please, can I be called Olokwe or Olopi?
I can't hear you. Sorry, you said?
I said, can I be called Olopi instead? Like
Can
that?
you do what?
I said, can I be referred to as Olopi instead?
Oh, okay, okay. My bad. Sorry.
No, it's
Okay,
okay. It's all right. Like that Ono is
okay,
just like rude and it doesn't.
okay, okay. I get it. I get it. Okay, so
Thank you.
thank you so much, Anafi. I think you did. I think you explained everything. You went into details, and that's basically it. Without wasting much time. Okay, with regards to the one you talked about, the import and the direct, having to change it, that's probably when you want to change your data source. Maybe perhaps when you started initially, you imported, but maybe because the data set is always changing, maybe due to report daily and the rest, you don't want to, because the moment you import a data set into your Power BI, more or less it's there unless you tell it to like refresh and gather more data and stuff like that. But in a situation where you want it like whenever there is an update in that data set, you want to access it, then you might want to change it from the imports to direct query now. And that's
Okay.
where you might have to go and work on your data source to now do that. Yeah, so that's it. So moving
Okay.
on to what we have for today. We're going to be dealing on modeling. I sent in one data set on Teams. I don't know if you guys saw it. Superstore is the name. Please, if you can see it, kindly download it because that's what we'll be working with today. Okay. So I will just move over to my Power BI. I'm going to share my screen. Okay, sorry. I think I'll put on my video for some time and then I'll put it off. Yes, that's Choma. Okay, I want to share my screen. Hmm. Screen one, I think. Yeah. Okay, so the data set I talked about, this is it. Superstore data. Please download it. That's what we'll be working with. So I'm going to my Power BI. So basically, what is modeling? Modeling is simply, okay, in data analysis, like there are different steps you have to take to be able to get your data and be able to come up with good visuals that you can make sense out of it. And the first part of it is where you have to bring in data, which is part of what we did last week, where you have to bring in the data. Now, when you bring in this data, the next thing you might want to do is to clean it up, just to make sure that it's in the right way that you can work with it. And by so doing, you're talking about looking at your data types, doing so many other things just to shape the data so that at the end of the day, it's not looking, you don't have some missing data set like values in your columns and the rest before you now move it over to the modeling section. It's in the modeling section that you now try. So if a data set has so many tables, it's in the modeling section that you now try to create relationships so that each table can speak to the other table. So the tables can speak to each other. And for you to achieve that, that is where modeling comes into play. There are a lot of things we do into modeling. In modeling, part of it is creating the relationship. We're going to talk about one-to-one relationship, one to many, many to many, like that. We're going to look at other properties where you have to create calculated columns, tables, and the rest. And then we're also going to look at DAX. These are some of the things we're going to be doing today. So first and foremost, I want to go and get the data set we're going to be working with. I purposely did not clean up my data set so that we can just refresh our memory on what we did last week. So please, guys, I want this section to be very interactive. So it's not just me talking. At some point, you might have to, contribute. Okay? I don't know. I hope it's fine by you guys. So I want to go get my data, and that's the super stuff. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. So
Yes.
I'm trying to bring in my data from my data source, which is an Excel file. So just like we did last week, when you want to bring in data, it first of all takes you to the navigator plane. Here you can decide to bring in some of the data or everything. So assuming in this particular data set, I just want to bring in 3 columns. I can just select those 3 columns that I want to bring in and then go ahead and bring it in. But I don't want to bring in just the 3 of them. I want to bring in everything. So I'm going to select everything and then go ahead to transform. So it's always best to transform before you load. The transform will help you to check if your data is clean enough for you to work on it. And whenever you bring in data into Power BI, it takes you to your Power Query. That's actually where you do your cleaning. So my Power Query is coming up now. Yeah. So we're in the Power Query. So I said I didn't want to clean up this data so that we can refresh our memory about what we did last week. So I don't know, looking at this data set now, it's not looking okay. I know that for sure. I don't know, is there anybody that can volunteer to tell us what we need to do here? You can see my column is having, my headers is having column 1, column 2, column 3, and then I'm having sales rep, sales team, sales team manager. This is actually supposed to be my heading, but I mean, it's not where it's supposed to be. So what can we do to take it up? I want us to be fast with the cleaning so we can go over to the main topic for today, please. Can someone volunteer? What can we do?
You can use the first row as header.
Oh, beautiful. So I can go ahead and click on this. Notice that good. Notice that this is not my header and this is what I want it to look like. Now another thing I want to do is to be sure that the data set is okay. So looking at this now, okay, looking at this now, you can see that it's on the text data type, which is okay for me because we're dealing with text here. Sorry, this is text. This is text also. Is also text. This is text. So this is fine. Then we'll move over to the next table. I think we still have the same issue. So now I'll just go ahead and do the same thing that we did the other time. This is what we call cleaning up. So you want to check the data sets. You want to be sure that they're correct. This is test, this is test, this is fine. Now another thing you want to check also, you want to be sure that there are no empty cells in your columns. And to just quickly get that, all you need to do is to click on view. When you click on view, you click on your column quality. So look at the option it brings out. It gives you valid, error, empty. So if there's any error on this column now, it's going to tell you there's an error and this is it. If there's any empty cell, it's going to tell you the same. But looking at what we have, everything is good to go. You can see everything is 100%. The same for others. That's how you keep going until you clean up. Sorry, I just want to be sure. Okay, this is it. This is okay. It's good to go. Okay. Yeah, this is okay. Postal code. So for this postal code, I'm not comfortable with leaving it as a number. Why? Because if I leave it as a number, by the time I'm in my Power BI, it will be showing me that it's a number, and it might be thinking of doing a sum for me, which is not what I want to do. Postal code is more or less not for calculations, so I might want to change it to text. That's it. And I'm trying to be fast now. So we still have the same thing here. So I need to change it first. Okay. I think we're good to go. Yeah, we're good to go. Okay, so I can go ahead and close and apply. So we can go to the main business for the day.
Can I ask a question, please?
Yes, please.
Okay. For the year, do we leave that as numbers as well?
So for the year, you keep it as dates. Oh, I didn't even
Yeah.
look at my calendar dates very well, but we can still change it from the model view.
Okay.
But ideally, when you're dealing with dates, we have a data type that is dates. So you change it so that it becomes a dates data type.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes. Okay. Okay, so we're in our Power BI now. You can see that we already have all those data sets, the tables that we imported from our Excel sheets. These are the tables. Now on Power BI, we have three different views. We have the report view, which is this. That is our report view. We have the data view, which is what gives us the like a picture of what our data set looks like, just the way it looks like wherever, like the tables now. And then finally we have the model view. So what the model view does is that, sorry, let me close it so we can see everything. So what the model view does is that it brings in all those tables for you and it comes up like this. Now, what we want to do, we want to create a relationship so that all these tables can talk to themselves. Now, in data modeling, first and foremost, most times when you want to work with your tables, you want to define which one is your fact table and which one is your dimension table. What do I mean by fact table and dimension table? So most times, the dimension table is a table that speaks to, let's say, okay, let's use for example this product now. It tells you everything about the product. So it just focuses on the product and it tells you what category the product is, the product ID, the product name. So if you want to know anything about the product, just go to your product table. It gives you all you need to know about the product. Then the same applies to sales. So these are what we call dimension tables. But fact table is like the table that's like it has um okay, maybe I should have started with primary keys and foreign keys. So primary key is a unique key, like the unique key that's kind of gives like an identity for a particular table. What do I mean by that? Look at our product table now. You find out that most times the unique key is always the ID. Okay, so the product ID is what speaks to every other thing that we have on this our product table. If you come to, let's say, location table, the location table is like the primary key that speaks to this table, like it's what relates every other information on this table. The same thing applies to other table and the rest. So our primary key is like the main key that relates to every other column on your table. Now, when you find your primary key on another table and it's no longer a primary key, then you refer to it as a foreign key. Let me scroll down a little bit. Refer to it as a foreign key. Now, a table that contains both primary keys and foreign keys is what we refer to as a fact table. Let me go over it again. So, in our dimension table, we have different columns, but there's this particular column that is like the ID, like the column that links the other columns, that relates to the other columns. Now, most times it's always the ID. Looking at this product ID now, though, looking at this product table, the primary key now is the product ID. Okay, the same goes for location, and refer to this kind of tables because they speak to a particular set of data. We refer to them as a dimension table. But a fact table contains its own primary key as well as the primary keys of other dimension table. But when those keys come into your fact table now, it becomes a foreign key, no longer the primary key. So in this case now, orders under the orders table, the order ID is our primary key for this orders table. But you can see our product ID. The product ID is the primary key for product table. But here now, it becomes a foreign key under your fact table. The same applies to location. You find out that your location ID will be here. It's no more the primary key under orders table, but it's now your foreign key under orders table. I don't know if this is clear enough. We need to understand this concept before I can move on. Is it clear, or do I go over it again? Sorry, please, I want to turn off my video at this point. Hello? Hello?
Hi. Hello.
Any question, please?
None from me.
Okay. Okay, so let's continue. So now, our major concern now is that we want to create a relationship. We want to create a relationship between these tables so that they can speak to each other. And for you to create relation, it simply means finding your primary key on your fact table. Okay? So basically, automatically, by default, most times when you have tables like this, Power BI does what we call auto. Sorry, can you see my screen?
No, we're still seeing your face.
Okay, can you see
Okay,
my
your
screen?
screen is up now. Yeah, your screen
Okay,
is up
sorry
now.
about that. Okay, so back to what I was saying. So looking at this now, automatically Power BI comes up with relation. It creates a relationship for you by default, but it's not left for you to determine if what Power BI has done is okay for you and that is what you want to work with. If it's okay for you, then you can go ahead. But if it's not okay, then you might want to do your own relationship. But better still, if you want to do your own relationship, it's always the best. So what I'm going to do is to just go ahead and maybe let me delete this. I will delete this. But ideally, you don't even need to delete. As long as you check and what it has done is okay for you, then you can go ahead. So let me just delete this two and leave the other ones. So from what we're seeing now, you can see that our fact table is the orders table because that's where we have most of our primary keys located. And now on this orders table, we want all these tables to be speaking to our fact table. I mean the dimension tables. Now, when I say Power BI automatically does its relationship, let's look at this now. If I click on this line, which is actually the relationship, you find out that the product ID is highlighted on both tables. So it's telling you, okay, Power BI is connecting to this table using the product ID, which is actually the primary key on our product table. But now it's now connecting to the primary product ID, which is a foreign key on the orders table. So for me, this relationship is very okay. Now looking at this one again, we want to see what Power BI has done for us. So I think I'm okay with this because the customer ID is my primary key here and is also what is connecting to the fact table, the customer ID. So this is okay for me. So for these ones that I deleted, I just wanted us to see how you can delete just in case you don't want it to be there. Remember what I did? I did a right click and then clicked on delete and deleted it. So in this case now, I want to check for my sales team now. The sales rep is like the primary key here because if you check, you can see that the sales rep is here and is also here. So what is saying that this is actually the key that connects to my fact table. You can still cross-check to see if there are other things. Now, if there are no other thing that speaks that, if there are no other columns like that is under my sales table that is here, then I am so convinced that this is my primary key here, and this is what is connecting to the fact table. So in this case now, if I want to connect this to this, how do I do that? All I need to do is to click on this, click on the sales rep column, then drag it down where I have my orders table. I'm trying to match it to the sales rep that is here. When I get to the sales rep, I leave it. When I leave it, Power BI will automatically link the two tables for me. Can you see what it did? All I did was to click on this, drag it down to this, and then it created the relationship. Same for this. If I want to connect these two tables, all I need to do is to locate which key is common to both of them. Looking at these two tables, you find out that it's the location ID. So I will still do the same thing that I did initially by dragging this to this. But if I don't want to go through this method, I can decide to go through another route of still achieving the same thing. And that is where you go to either go to your ribbon and click on the manage relationship. Now, Power BI is already giving me the tables that are already related to this. But I want it, there's another table that I still want to like match to my orders table. So I go and click on, I go and click on edit. When I click on edit, I try to look for, okay, which column. So I'm actually matching to my orders table, which is fine. This is where you choose which table you want to match together. This is the orders table I actually want to relate with. Now, which table is that? Remember, it's my location table that I want to merge, or what I want to create a relationship. So I go down to the second this thing here, and then click on location. When I click on location, it brings out all the columns under my location table. You can see the location ID, the city, the state, the postal code, and then the region. Now, these two tables, I've already told Power BI, these are the two tables I want to create a relationship for them. Now, the next thing I want to make sure I want to do is to ensure to pick the column that I want to like create relationships for. So I go back to my orders table. I'm looking for the location ID on my orders table. When I scroll down, you can find it here. Then you go ahead and select it. Once I select it, I come down here again and do the same. Now I've selected these two columns under my two tables. Now Power BI is going to ask me what kind of cardinality do I want to create? What is it asking me here? It's trying to know, okay, what kind of relationship do these two tables, what kind of relationship do they have? Is it many to one, one to many, one to one, or something like that? So I will just leave it like that, which is many to one, and then click on single relations and then click OK. Close this. So it's supposed to bring up the relationship. Good, that's it. So if you look at it now, you can see that it has created a relationship between my location table and my orders table. Now I still have one table that is left. I'll still speak to one-to-one. Just give me some minutes. I'll still speak to that. I want to connect all the tables before I speak to one-to-many and the many-to-many relationships. Now I still have my calendar table still left out. Now, which table? I'm looking at all this and I want to like which column do I have in my calendar table that can actually relate with what I have on my orders table. So what I'll do is to go to my orders table and check if there is any date table that I have on this orders. Any date column that I have on this orders table. Now, when you search, you'll find out that we have ship dates, we have order dates. I can decide to use my ship dates. I can decide to use my order dates. The important thing is that date is speaking to dates. But for this particular class, we are going to be using the other date, sorry. So what I need to do, just like I did before, I go to the date table here, drag it, get to the other date, just make sure it's on the other date, and then you leave it. Then it will go ahead and create the relationship for you. Okay, so I'm done with creating my relationship. Now I might want to just
like the relationship from the customer table, like it's been deleted by mistake or something.
Okay. So we can also create this too. All I need to do is what key do I think is the primary key here and is the foreign key here. Looking at this, automatically, most times, whenever you see ID, just know most times it will most likely be the ID that is the primary key. So looking at this, we'll find out that the customer ID is also here. So all you need to do is just to drag it as usual and create that relationship. Thank you, Inka. So it's very important that you make sure that all your tables are related, because let's say, for example, that I didn't remember to create this relationship. By the time I'm working with my tables or I'm trying to perform a DAX or anything, I'll be getting error here because this table is not speaking to every other table on this particular column. So it's very important that you make sure that all your tables are connected. Now, looking at this kind of connection, this is what we refer to as start schema, where you have your fact table in the middle and then the dimension table just beside it like this. So when you see this kind of arrangement, you refer to it as a start schema. So that's it for creating the relationship. Then another thing I want to speak to is the cardinality. So what do I mean by cardinality? When we say one-to-many relationship, if you look at this particular line now, relationship, you find out that you have one here and you have something like asterisk. Asterisk is actually the icon for many. Now, what is this saying? That you have a particular column that is speaking to so many other columns that are also related to other tables. So the relationship more or less is speaking from here. You're just picking your this thing, and then it's going to so many other connections. When you say many, this table is not just one connection. It has so many other relationships coming to it. So that's when you say one to many, it could be the other way around. It could be many to many. Many to many means this table is speaking to this table is also speaking to it. Now, when look at this arrow now, you find out that this arrow is coming like this. What is it trying to tell you? That this table is speaking to this, like that. It can also be the other way around. When it's the other way around, it means that this table is speaking to this one. It can even be bidirectional. Bidirectional means, okay, let me see if I can change this to bidirectional so you can see what it looks like. So, let me put it okay. Cardinal might tell me that okay, good, you did it for me. So when you have something like this, what it's telling you is that the kind of filtering that is on this particular relationship is on both direction, is bidirectional. So it can go either ways. It can go to this table or this way. But most times we deal with just single cross filtering, single filtering or whatever. You get, it's just a single one most times, and most times it's always one to many. In fact, it's always advisable not to deal with many to many relationship. I'm going to change this back to what it's supposed to be. It's always advisable not to deal with many to many relationship because it creates a lot of issues. But in cases where you can't run away from such relationship, then you might have to deal with it, but you have to be extra careful. So that's it for our cardinality and then the mode of communication for them. I don't know if you have any question at this point.
Sorry, I've got two questions.
Okay, please.
Okay, so I realized that when we were doing the mapping, like when we were joining the dimensions to the fact table, we were
Yes.
like we were picking from the dimension table and placing on the fact table. So My first question on that would be, is that how it should be done? Like, and is that what is causing, is that what is creating the one-to-many part? Or is it just something that I can just drag from, I can do the other way, like drag from my facts to
So,
my dimensions table?
okay, to answer this particular question, it can be any way. So you can
Okay,
decide to drag it from the other place or the other place. It doesn't matter.
okay, and that will affect like the directions of the arrows as well. Like it will
No,
just,
no.
okay. What was my second question? I forgot them. When I remember, I'll ask.
Okay, it's okay.
Thanks.
Okay. Any other question, please?
Yes, I have a question.
Okay.
When you were joining the calendar and the orders, you
Okay.
you joined it from the date to the order date. How did you know that it's supposed to be order date and not ship date? Because I can also see another date there. So how do you
Okay.
know which one that you're joining to, if there are
Okay.
two?
Okay. So, in this particular case, you can decide to go for either the order dates or the ship dates. Now, another thing you might want to check is what actually do you want to calculate? Like, what are you looking out for? Is it going to be more of something around your order date or something around your ship date, or like what is your end result? But it doesn't really matter. Most times, so if you decide to create two relationships, so let's say you want to do like come up with a visual. When I say visual, I'm referring to a report now, and you want to speak to your order dates and you want to speak to your ship dates, but this time around you don't want to speak to them at the same time, you want to speak to them independently. There is also room for you to create an active relationship and an inactive relationship, but you can never have two active relationships at the same time. What do I mean? Now, in this case, now we have order dates, we have ship dates. I can decide to create a relationship from my dates to order dates, and also create another relationship from my dates to ship dates. Let me just do a practical now. It's coming up. Good. Now, if you notice, I now have two relationships between these two dates. What does it mean? My date is speaking to both the order dates and also the ship dates. But notice that this order relationship now is more like dotted lines. What is telling you that this particular relationship exists but is inactive. So it becomes active the moment I activate it to become active. But and whenever this one becomes active, this one will have to be inactive. You can't have two active relationship at the same time, but you can decide to have both active and inactive depending on what I want to achieve at the end of the day when I'm coming up with my reports. But if my reports, I'm not really concerned that it doesn't really matter what, like maybe my reports doesn't really have like a specific will I say target that I want to achieve, then
Chama is
just
like a
having
ship
relation.
mode you connected to, not
This
ship
ship
date.
mode. Oh, sorry. Okay. uh so let me delete it and leave it again. So this kind of thing you need to be careful, because if you have this kind of relationship again and it's not on the right kind of connection, then you might have issues at the end of the day. So it's something you want to be sure that you're not making mistakes. Yeah, I think I have it. It's correct now. Date to ship date. Thank you so much. So, but in this case, I said let's just work with the other dates. It doesn't mean that you cannot have relationship between the two, but most time it depends on what you want to achieve. But rarely would you even want to have active and inactive relationship. Just having one, what I'm just interested in is having a date speak to a date table on my other table. I'm fine like that. I don't know who asked the question. Did I answer your question?
Yes, you
Chama,
did.
I wanted to quickly add,
Okay, please.
like Chama said, so you really can create a relationship between anything and anything. Like it's not sacrosanct that is the only thing that is possible. But what you're trying to do is what is reasonable. What are you going to need to connect to each other when you're doing your report? And we will understand better when we start doing the visualization and all of that. So Power BI is not going to stop you from connecting, for example, month to product ID. I mean, you just connected dates to ship mode and it created anyway. But by the time you start doing your visualization, you will now see that the relationship you created is not useful to you or is not achieving what you want it to achieve. So that's why it's important that you're connecting things that are related to each other, not just connecting anything. So dates and dates, sales rep and things like that. So it's what you're going to need later when you're doing your visualizations. And like she said, so that's why the choice of order date or ship date is not because order date is better than ship date. It's just because maybe you feel like you're going to do more visuals relating to order dates. So because of course orders are more important than whenever they were shipped most times. So that's just how it works.
Okay,
Yeah,
thank you, Yinka. Okay, then another thing I wanted to point out. So in this case where you have active and inactive, you want to make this if you want to make this particular relationship active, because looking at it, once you see a dotted line, it tells you it's an inactive relationship. So if I want to make it an active relationship, all I need to do is right click on it, go to my properties, and then look at this, make this relationship active. I'll say, okay, yes, that's what I want. Then it's to bring out this long grammar and everything. But if I'm okay with it, I can just go ahead. But it's just telling me, it's trying to direct me, okay, this is it. If you're making this is, you should be careful about this. But that's the way to go about it. But I don't even need this, so I'm going to take it off. Just delete, right click and delete, and that's it. So we are done with creating our relationship. So this is the first part of modeling. Then looking at this place, we have the properties pane, we have our fields pane. Now the field tells us everything about our data sets. So under my data sets, so under my data set, I have the calendar table, the customer table, the location table, and so on. Now if I expand this, I get to see all the columns under my table. The same for days, like that, like that, like that. Now, if for some reason, let's say I come to my, let me click on region now. I want to like do some things under my modeling, and it has to do with the properties of what I'm dealing with. All I need to do is click on the column that I want to like work on. In this case now, I want to work on my location table, my region column to be precise. Now, this is the properties pane. This properties tells us like everything about this region. Now, name. Assuming I want to rename this particular column, I don't want it to be region again. I can change the name from here. Let's say I want to change it to what do I use now? What do I use now? So let's just say location again. Okay. Notice that the name has changed on your fields pane. So this is another way you can change. I know when we're doing cleaning under our Power Query, there was a place that that showed us how we can change maybe your data type, the name of your column, just in case that's what you want to change. But I don't want this location, so I'll take it back to region. Once you do something like that and then take it off, it applies. Now description, do I want to like give any description about this region column? Maybe you want to say one or two things about the region. Maybe region, blah, 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 just anything you want to describe so that any person that's looking at your data set tomorrow can understand one or two things about the region. This is where you do that. Just say one or two things about it. Now, synonyms. So in Power BI, it gives us room for other things. So So let's say, for example, somebody, you're working on your visual now, and for some reasons you like to refer to region as location. So you want whoever that is looking at the, or whenever you're working on your Power BI, that whenever you say location, you should know you're referring to your region. All you need to do, just come here, put in location also as a synonym. So let's say tomorrow I want to say, um, query my report and say I want to get the region, let's say count of region. So I want to know how many under the region, how many different, maybe west, north, south, like that. Once I do count of region, it tells me, okay, maybe 4, because we have north, south, west, and east. Likewise, if I put in, let's say, um, location count, it's still going to give me the same thing, because Power BI, I've already told Power BI that anytime you see region, please, anytime you see location, please also know I'm referring to region. So that's where you can do that. So most times people, let's say maybe if it's a place where, maybe let's say that is bilingual, so maybe they want to describe region not just as English, they want to describe it as maybe French, they want to describe it as maybe some other language. You have the liberty of coming here to put in every other language that means the same thing as region, so that no matter where the person is located, if the person imputes that particular thing, it tells you it's still speaking to region. So that's it for the synonyms. Now, displays folder. So sometimes if you are working, most times, let's say if you're working and you want like some things to come under one particular folder, okay, most times it can occur with measures, okay, and you want to create a folder and you want, like, under this folder, let us have so many other things. You can create a folder from here. Let's say for this region now, I want to create, sorry, I want to create a folder that is also, let's say, region region um region what now, area as the folder. Okay, once I leave, it will create a folder for me on this field thing. Can you see it? We now have a folder, and under that folder we have region. All I've done is I've moved this to a particular folder. So for example, when you are doing your analysis or whatever, and you want to create a particular folder so that everything speaks, whenever you get to that folder, you get whatever you want to do. This is one way of achieving it. Just go and create a folder, and then it just creates a folder for that particular um data set or column or whatever. That's it. But I don't even want this, so I'm going to take it off. Now, it's hidden. It's hidden simply means, okay, when you see this, okay, let me click on it so you see what will happen. Good. Now, it's hidden simply means I want you to hide this particular column for me. Look at our field pane. Can you see the region? Can you see we now have something like an eye that is crossed out? It's simply telling you, even look at our model, it's simply telling you that this region, by the time you go back to your report mode, it's not going, you're not going to see this particular column. It's going to be blurred out. Like, you're not going to use it for whatever you're doing because it's not active anymore. But most times when you want to achieve this is maybe you have columns that you might not need for for a particular, let's say, report or visualization. All you need to do, instead of taking everything and then working with it, you can decide to hide it. That way you're optimizing your model. Optimization of model is another thing that we can look at later, but not now. But it simply means things that you can do so that your model, the performance of your model, can be faster and better off for you. Like, it's faster, it's giving you what you want. And for you to achieve that, this is one of the ways you can optimize your model. So if you're not going to use a particular table or column, all you need to do, just hide it. Just say paraventure you have moved it over, because on location I might need. Hello. Hello.
Hi.
Yes,
Can
we
you hear
can
me?
hear you. We lost you
Okay.
for a bit, but we can hear you now.
Okay. 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 So, but I don't.
We can't hear you.
I think we lost her. She'll be back.
Hello. Hello. Can you hear me? No.
Yes.
Hello.
Hello.
Can you hear me?
Hello.
Yes, please.
Hello.
Yes.
So sorry. My network.
Hello.
Okay. 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 So okay, that's it for the feeding. Then we want to go over. We can see formatting. So remember when we were under our Power Query, there was, of course, part of the cleaning was to maybe change your data type and then the format. You can also achieve that on your model view. So let's say maybe while you were doing that, you actually did not do everything you were supposed to do. All you need to do when you get to this place. So in this case now, I'm even dealing with um, region. You want to check, okay, is this supposed to be binary, true or false, fixed, whatever, whatever. So let's say, I think when I was trying to move this, I didn't really look at my calendar table to be sure that is a date table. So assuming I'm on my calendar, let me even try and do it. Okay, but let me just continue with it. And maybe let's say this is actually supposed to be a date table. I can change it here and say, okay, please take it to date table. But that's not what I want to do because this is not even a date table. Region has to do with text. So I'll just select text. Then under my, hello, can you hear me? Hello.
Yes,
Voice
we
is
can.
very.
Okay. Okay. Then under the formats, what kind of format? It's still text. It's okay. Now, when that's for the formatting. So there are so in Power BI, the good thing about Power BI, there are so many ways you can achieve a particular thing. So assuming you are not able to do it while you are in the other side, whenever you come over to your model view, you can still achieve that. Now for the advanced, when you click on advanced, yeah. So we are dealing with region, and region, of course, most likely. Okay, let me even see what my region table looks like. If I want to see what this region table looks like, I can get to my data view mode and click on my location. Under my location, that's where I have my region. So can you see region is telling me west, north, south, and this thing. So I'm sure of what I just wanted to check something. So now when you come under sort by column, so I want to sort actually, that's where I am, the region, which is actually the column I'm dealing with now. Now, notice that when I went to my data view, it was telling me north, west, south, and this thing. So it actually has something to do with, what do you call it now? Like, it's not just, it's something that, when you're talking about it's the four cardinal, what did you even call it again? I can't remember the right word now. But when you come to this place now, you want to be sure that you are hello.
Hello?
Oh, I'm so sorry,
Hello.
guys. My network is messing up. Okay, so I was saying something. So under your data category, you want to choose what kind of category, like you want to categorize it, that's what you call it. Because I'm dealing with region, I'll go and choose country/region. Assuming I was dealing maybe with a continent, I will just simply go and choose continent. If it's a latitude, longitude, I will choose this. Now, this will help in my visualization. If I'm able, so that because Power BI will now recognize, okay, this has to do with a region, it's a region data, so I have to treat it like something that has to do with, okay, let's say if you're on your map, you have to, like, it has to look for that particular region. Likewise, the longitude and latitude. So when you talk about categorization in Power BI, this is what they mean. Just your ability to, be able to categorize what kind of data that is. Now, summarized by, in this case, most times, let's say if I'm dealing with maybe a calculation column, like a column that has numbers, you can decide to, okay, I want you to give me the sum, the average, or whatever. But because I'm dealing with region, the best they can do is just a count. Okay, that's why you have this here. But I don't even want to do anything about that, so I'll just leave it like that. And that's all for your properties thing. Then another thing I wanted to also let us know is that for this, okay, like where you have region, um, hold on. Okay, so I need to get back to my data view. Okay, no, let's finish with this before I go back to the other side. So I don't know if you have any question at this point. Hello. Hello.
Hi. I remembered my second question, but
Okay.
I remember that you said you were going to discuss cardinality with us later, right? Or have you done that
I've
already?
actually watched it. Yes,
You've actually what?
I've actually talked about it.
Okay. So let me just. I was just trying to process something that you said on the one-to-many relationship. I'm just trying to think about it and make it make sense to me in my own way. So
Okay.
please humor me if I'm just explaining rubbish. I'm just explaining as a question as well. So for the one to many, what I understand about it is, on our product table, for example, for the product ID, for a particular product, you only have you have a unique product ID for a particular product name. So because it's unique, you won't have you won't have duplication of the product ID. But if I come to my orders, for example, a customer might order or different customers might order the same product. So
Okay.
ordinarily on my orders table, I would have numerous what do I call it now? My product ID, a particular product ID can come up numerous times on my orders table. But on my product table, it will only come up just one time, right?
More like it, yes.
So, so my question is that what the one to many is all about? Like, okay, I can only have a product ID one time on my product table, but on my others table, it can come up more than one time.
Hmm. Okay. Let me let me process it again. Sorry. You are saying on your product ID, what you have there is unique,
So,
right?
so what she's Choma,
Yes.
yeah, I think she's correct. So what she's saying is on the product ID, on the product table, because the product ID is one, so you only have one row. You can only have one row that has one product ID. You can't have one product ID occurring in two rows or three rows. But in the order table, of course, because different people could buy the same product. So you could have one, two, three, four rows having the same product ID. So what it means is that one row in the product table is speaking to many rows in the order table. So what you
Yes.
explained is perfectly correct. Or no, Kweko.
Okay, okay, all right. Thank you.
Okay.
And the
Okay.
same with the other fact tables, the other dimension tables that have one, then to many in the other table.
Okay, all right. Thanks, Inka, for explaining better. I was just all over the place trying to explain myself. Thank you.
It's fine.
Okay. Nika, thank you. Any other question? Okay. I think that's it for this. Then we are now going to move over to our data view. Sorry, let me look at what we have for today again. Okay, pricing quick measures. Okay. Okay, so now in Power BI, we have a language that is called DAX. So what DAX actually means is data analysis expression. That's actually the language that Power BI understands. Just like our Power Query that understands the M language, that's the way we have DAX for Power BI. Now in Power BI, there are like when you are doing your modeling, or when you are now on your Power BI, there are one or two things you might want to do. Let's go to another table. Let's say the others table now. Okay, I want us to see how we can create columns, calculated columns this time around on our others table. Now, looking at this others table, we can see that we have the quantity, we have the sales, and maybe let's say we want to find out. So we sold 3.3, let's say 3 of I don't know what product is this, or whatever product. This is the product ID, and this is the amount for each one. Now I want to create, like, let's say the total amount for each, like after I've made three sales, like for each quantity, I want to multiply this and this so that I can get the total sales that I got for this particular order. What can I do? So Power BI gives us the room for us to create, this time around, calculated columns. So what do? I just simply need to come to this place. You can see we have new measure, we have quick measure, we have new column, we have new table. Let me start with the new column. Once I click on the new column, okay, it's coming up. Okay, it creates a new column for me. But then again, I want to define what I want this column to do for me. What do I want this column to do? I want to name this column, let's say, final sales, like, or complete sales, or okay, total sales. That's the name of the column. What do I want to achieve? I want this particular column to multiply this column so that I can get my total sales. How do I do that? All I need to do is I'm typing. So follow me. What I want to do is I want to select this column and multiply with this column to be able to get this. That's what we want to achieve. And how do we do that? In Power BI, whenever you're working with DAX, if you want to refer to a column, you start with a square bracket. Once you put up a square bracket, the good thing about Power BI, most times it will come up with options. It gives you option. What do you want to achieve? Okay, by putting this way, already telling me I want to choose a column. What column is that? If I want to choose my quantity column, you can find it there. You select it. No need typing it again. Okay. I want to multiply it with my. Sorry, I'm not done now. I want to multiply it with my sales table. So I'll go ahead and multiply it in my sales table. What you need to do is use your asterisk. The asterisk, it simply means multiply. So I want to multiply in my sales column. I'm still going to put my square bracket so that I can come up with my sales. You can decide to type it out or just go ahead and select it. So once I'm done with this, I can click on enter. It's going to populate the total sales. Now what it's going to do is it's simply going to multiply these two columns and give me the final outcome, which is this. Okay, this is one way of creating a new column, a calculated column in Power BI. Let's say, for example, okay, let me go to my dates table. Okay, so for my dates table now, it has already given me everything I want, but let's still do one or two things here. So in my date table, let's say I don't have this year column yet, and I want to populate this year column. All I need to do is probably just have your dates, you have your month, you have your quarter, you have your month, but you don't have this year column. What can you do? All you need to do is just go to my new column as usual. Okay. What do I want to create? Let's say I want to create a year. A year column. I won't name it here because I already have year. So, and because if I name it here, by the time it's processing, Power BI will tell me I already have a column that's labeled as year. So let me just say year one and say equal to. What do I want to do? I want to get my year column from this particular function. There is a function named I want to bring down my year from my date table. This is my date table. So I'm telling it, okay, bring out year from my date table. No, it's coming up as a function. So you find out that if you just go to my date table, I'm sorry, I'm not supposed to be calling my date column and extract just the year for me. But that's what we already have here. But these are just simple ways you can come up with new columns under your Power BI. I don't want this to be here, so I'm going to take it off. I'm going to take it off. But I just wanted us to see how we can create different things under Power BI. I'm just gradually introducing us to that. That is actually very broad, but if you can understand the basics is something that while you're working with your Power BI, you get to keep improving on it. But if you understand like the basic ones that you need, then you're good to go. Now, there was something I wanted to explain to us the other time, apart how you can also address your different columns or table. If looking at this my dates column now, if you look up here, you're going to see that you have name. It's telling you what is the name of this column, dates. What is the data type? It's date/time. So assuming it's not in the right data type, you can decide to change it from here. Okay, what is the format? There are different formats that you can choose from. How do you want your date to appear? If you're not okay by this with what you already have, you can decide to, okay, take off this, give me this, and this, and just choose. Once you choose it, it leaves that format for you. And that's it. Let me see if we have anything that has to do with money. So sorry. Okay, good. Now these sales, looking at these sales, it simply tells us that it has something to do with currency. Okay. Now, if you want to work on this particular column, and so under data type, you have different types of data type. Of course, the name is telling us is a sales column. You have different types of data type. Once you have decimal numbers simply means that there are, of course, I want to leave it like this because I can see there are some other numbers coming after the main number, and that's what we refer to as decimal points. In some other places, you call it float points, but for Power BI, we refer to it as decimal points. I want to leave it as decimal points, but the format, I don't want it to be general because I'm talking about money. So I want to change it from just general to currency because that's what I'm dealing with. This is where you can achieve that. All you need to do, just go ahead and select currency. You even go ahead to ask what kind of currency are we talking about here? Is it dollars? Is it pounds? Which one are we talking about here? So from here now, you can decide to, sorry. You can decide to choose from here. What kind of currency do you want? Assuming you're dealing with our Nigerian Naira, then you look for Nigerian Naira here and choose it. Assuming you are dealing with, let's say, Ghana cedis, you choose this one, just like that. So it depends on where you are located and what currency you're dealing with. So let's say we're dealing with pounds. You can just go ahead and choose pounds, okay? And then it will automatically tell the column that this is what I want you to do. I want pounds. And that you can say pounds. Let me shape this so you can see. You can see it's now showing that it's pounds. Now, this one now, assuming we're dealing with percentage, you just click on this. I don't know which column can we deal with that has to do with percentage. Okay, but if you're dealing with any column that you want it to be presented as a percentage of that particular score, you can click on this and it gives you a percentage. Now, what does this mean? It's like a separator. Looking at this now, you can find out that automatically Power BI is already giving us that you have 1,044 pounds, 0.63 pounds, something like that. If this separator is not there, you find out that everything will just be clustered together. Like it might not even make sense to you when you're looking at it. Let me see. It's coming up. I want to remove this separator. Let me see. It's giving me. Oh no, it's back again. Sorry. Good. Now, if you look at this column now, you find out that you have 1,044 whatever. Okay, it's like it's not so readable. It's not readable like that. But I want Power BI to automatically detect, because I'm dealing with currency. Once you look at it, if it's in thousand, you can see it because it's already separated with a comma. Just the normal way we do our writing, we're writing numbers. All you need to do, just come back to this place, click on this. Once you click on it, it will automatically detect all the places it needs to put that separator. So if you look at it now, you can see it's showing us 1,044, 44, whatever. My sign is okay. My currency sign is off. Let me put it back. And that's it. The same applies for this. This one it depends on the number of decimal points. You can decide to increase your decimal points to just like that. But I just want to leave it as auto. So that's basically it. This is also, remember where we did data categorization, where when we're dealing with region, we had to change what kind of data set what kind of data it is. But in this case, because I'm dealing with currency, I don't have anything to do with data categorization, so I'll just leave it. Now for my summarization, because I'm dealing with numbers, now it's telling me, okay, what do I want to do? Is it the sum? So from here, you can choose whether you want to do a sum, an average, minimum, maximum, count, or discount count. Okay. Sorry, Inka, what time is this class ending? Hello? Inka, you here?
Chema?
Okay. Sorry,
Chema,
what
I'm
time
here.
is it 2 hours class or 1 hour 30 minutes?
No, we can go up to 2 hours, but the 2 hours is the upper limit. But we're still going to have a second class for modeling anyway. So if you feel like you want to stop and continue next week, then that's fine too.
No, I just want to know when we're going to stop. Okay, so
2
let's
hours
continue.
is the upper limit. Yeah.
Okay, okay, let's continue, please. Okay, so that's it for this. I don't know if we have any questions at this point, or should I continue? Modeling can be boring anyway. Um, any questions? Hello? Hello, ladies. Any questions? Or should I continue? Or can I ask my own question?
No questions from me.
Okay.
Maybe you should ask questions and pick people to answer. Because it's only on Okwepo that has spoken in this class today. Every other person
Okay.
is just chilling.
Okay. It's looking as if I'm just talking to myself. That's what I'm asking. Let me see. Let me ask one question. Let me look for one question to ask. So let's go to Now that let's go to a table and see. Mm, okay. Okay. I'm going back to my model view. Please, I'm going to ask questions and I'm going to call names. Sometimes when you're talking and nobody, as like everybody's keeping quiet, it feels like you're just talking to yourself. So just to make sure that we are following, I'll ask us questions. I'm not going to call names for now, but I want to, let's say, I want to hide. Okay, so I am on my sales table on my model view, and I want to hide this particular table. I don't want it to show up when I move to my reports view. Like I don't want to work with it for this particular um, data set. What can I do? That's my first question.
Can I try?
Yes, please.
I think when you click on the arrow or the arrow that is showing either one to many or that is showing the,
This,
what is it called, the relationship. When you
okay.
click on it, it will give you a drop down and it will display where it will display that you want to view or hide. It will display a selection. It will display and shows. It will display a couple of things, and it will have also hide in it. Hide, either hide, yeah. And if you hide it, it will. A book click. Just click on it.
Okay. Vera,
Uh,
I'm going to follow you now. You said I should go to this place, right?
yeah.
Okay. And click on it, left or right?
Right. Right click. Just right click on it.
Okay, right.
Nothing's happened.
I can see delete some properties.
Hello.
Yes.
Properties.
Sorry?
Properties.
Okay. I click on properties.
There's only properties. There's nothing. Okay. Um. Then I'm not really sure, but that is what I was thinking. Like if you click,
Okay.
not the. Forgive me. Sorry. Not that. Not the relationship arrow. If you click on that
Okay.
particular like table,
Okay. Okay.
if you
I'm
click
clicking
on
on it
the
now.
table you want to hide,
I'm clicking on
okay,
it now.
I can't see any change. I can't see any change on the
Okay. I'm clicking
screen.
outside now. I'm trying to click on it again. It's highlighted in yellow. Can you still see my screen?
Yeah, I can see it,
Okay.
but I can't see any change on it.
Okay, let me help you. Maybe should I right click? Should
Yeah,
I?
please right click.
Okay. I just did
Click,
that.
then hide the report view, or click on
Beautiful.
Yes,
properties.
yes,
Beautiful.
yes.
So all we need to do, click on the table, right click, and then click on hide in report view. You'll notice
And
that everything.
Anne's hand was up. You wanted to
Oh,
answer or you had a question? Anne, your hand was up.
Hello, good evening, everyone.
Good evening,
Yes,
Anne.
good evening, Anne. Can hear you.
I actually wanted to say that when she said you should click, I wanted to contribute like saying right click to see if something will happen. But
Oh,
eventually she said it does I have to lower my hand.
okay, thank
Okay,
you.
thank you.
Mm,
Okay, so
mm.
for us to hide this table, all we need to do, thank you. That was Vera. Vera, thank you so much. All you need to do is just highlight the table that you want to, then right click on it and then select hide. Notice that everything now beside you can see something like an eye and it's cross tabs. So once you see something like this telling you, oh, this table is hidden, like you can't see it when you move over to your report view. Okay, let's even go to our report view and let me show you what I mean by that. So let me minimize this. That's actually our sales table. Can you see it here? Hello? Is it here?
Yes, we can. Yeah, I can see it.
Okay, where is it? I mean, it's not showing here anymore because it's hidden. That's what I mean. This is our report view. Remember when we started, I said this is our report view, this is our data view, and this is our model view. Now, because on our model view, we initially we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 tables, but because this one is no longer, we have hidden it. It's now hidden. When you go back to your report view, you find out that we don't have 6 tables anymore. You can only see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Why? Because the other one is no more visible. So that's actually, but I don't want it anymore, so I can still go back and remove it so that it becomes visible again. And then you find out that when you go back here, voila, that's it there. So we are cleared on that. Okay, what's my second question now? Okay, for my second question now, on my location table, I have city. Okay, where's my city? City. Okay, yeah. On my location table, I have city as one of the columns. I want to categorize this city as city. How do I achieve that? Can try. Hello? I don't want to continue. I want us to like go over what we've done so far and see if we understand what we've done. It's not going to be questions and then we'll end. Now, can someone try? Let me ask my question again. So, okay, yes, please go ahead.
Okay. I said you mean you want to edit the name of the column, or I didn't get the question.
Okay, I said, so under my fields pane, okay, let me go to my report view. So under my field, I have a table that is named location, and I want this city. Okay, remember when we were working with region, the column region, we did categorization for it. Because we categorize it, you can see this icon here. It's telling me, okay, this is already categorized probably as a region. Now I want to achieve the same for city. I want to categorize this city. How do I go about it?
I think you have to go to click properties, go back to the what you want to do after relationship tab.
Okay, Sandra, I can't hear you clearly. You said I should go back to where? Hello, Sandra, can you hear me?
The relationship tab, the tab for relationship.
Okay. I don't know if it's from my own end, but I can't hear you clearly.
Sandra, you need to be a little louder.
Hear me now.
Okay,
Yeah,
it's fair.
better now.
Sorry?
Hello?
Okay,
Can you
yes,
hear me
yes.
now?
Yes, it's
Okay.
better.
I think properties. Click on properties.
Okay. I've clicked on properties.
It's not showing in my end. Okay.
Okay, you're
Then
not seeing
click
my screen?
now.
Okay,
I
okay.
can see it now. Click on cities.
On city, okay? I'm on city.
All right. So you want to change the name or
Okay, so I want to categorize it.
okay. I think move at advanced. That's formatting side.
Beautiful. Okay.
Advanced, yeah.
Advanced, okay.
Categorize as yeah, that's
Beautiful.
it.
Oh, nice one. Nice one, nice one, nice one, nice one. Nice one. Thank you,
Mama, we need to
Sandra.
start giving prizes to people that are asking
Abby?
questions. We need
I'm
to.
telling you. I love this. Okay, so
Hello. Hello.
yes.
Can you hear me?
Good evening. Good
Morning.
evening. Hannah, good
Yeah.
evening.
Yeah. I want to ask you a question.
Hello, Hannah, can you hear me?
Yeah. I can hear
Okay.
you. Can you hear me?
Okay, yes, I
Can
can
you
hear you
hear
now.
me?
Yes, it's
Okay.
better.
Back to this categorization, not the categorization per se, this synonym. I just want
The
to
same.
ask, yeah, when you want, yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, please. Go ahead.
Okay, when it comes to the synonyms, okay,
Yes.
I want to ask what do you use to differentiate different synonyms? When you want to add like as many as possible, like you said earlier, maybe you want to add them in different languages or different synonyms. What do you use to differentiate each word you're actually inputting? Is it a comma or a
A
full
comma.
stop or just a space?
A comma. A comma and a
Okay, thank you.
space. Maybe let's
Okay.
say city for city. I don't know. Hannah, where are you from? Are you from Nigeria?
No, no.
Okay. In your own language, what do you call city?
Sorry, I'm from Nigeria. Sorry. I don't know that was what you meant.
Okay. I just wanted to know, okay, maybe in
Well,
your own
okay, maybe she's
language.
from Nigeria, but she's not dialing in from Nigeria. So yeah,
Okay,
we
okay, I get
understand.
it, I get it,
Yeah.
I get it, I get it. Okay. So
Yeah.
what I was driving at is maybe in your own local language, your own dialect, call it some other thing.
Ah,
So you can
I
you
actually
can
don't
go
know.
ahead and
Okay.
okay, so you can go ahead and say, okay, whenever you see whatever, I don't know whatever it is, you say, okay, this is it. Okay, let me go to customers. I think that's a better thing to work with. My custom. Oh, come on. Okay, good. So for customers now, a lot of people refer to customers as clients. So I can say, whenever you see clients, this is referring to customers. Um, whenever you see what else? Okay, subscribers. Okay, just like that. You keep defining it till maybe when you are done with whatever you want to, relate with that particular name, and that's it. So whenever I do any of this, if somebody is looking for client's number, it can give it as long as it's speaking to the customer table or the customer column, it will still give you the same answer that it will give you whenever you ask for something that has to do with customer. And maybe you're not changing the customer to client, it will still give you that same answer. So that's it.
All right. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Any other question? Okay, maybe my final question for the day, and then we close. Which other question do I ask now? Oh, okay. Oh, there's something we're supposed to touch today. Ah, what do I do now? Do I do that and then we close? We're actually supposed to do hierarchy. Okay, well, we can do it next class. Let's leave it for another class. Let's just ask the questions. I don't want us to have so many things today and then end up not getting everything. Okay, so my final question for the day is hmm, you can help me. Okay. What else did I touch?
Maybe you can ask someone. I really find because want to cardinality, that's relationships. They're
Okay.
usually very complex. So I want to check that at least
Okay.
one other person understands it. So I would like for anybody to just explain to us what a one-to-many relationship means.
Yeah.
So if nobody raises hand, I'll have to pick somebody. Because by somebody else, I mean somebody different from Onokwe person. She was the one that explained it before. So any other person who has not spoken in the class today, Lara and
Tara?
Vera.
No, no, Vera.
Vera
I
has
think Vera was
spoken,
the
eh?
person that won the first prize, even though we don't have any prize.
That means we are stuck with Lara Gijola. Hello, Lara.
I want to hear your beautiful voice.
Hello, Shamaika. Good evening.
Good evening.
Aha, good evening. So we need you to explain what you understand by 1 to 10 minutes. Lara's, is it Lara's baby that is helping her to answer? It's
Okay.
interesting though.
Okay, any other person can go ahead and answer.
I think the one to many was the one she was trying to explain using the order date and shipping date. That we use the order dates. We use the dates. We took the calendar under calendar. We took dates and mapped it to order dates under orders and mapped it to shipping date as well under orders. So
Lara, ya bobo enough.
Okay, can I try?
Yes, please.
Yes, please.
Hello? Okay, so I actually joined very late, but I think I heard when you were trying to explain that. So you use the product for, is it product field? Is it call field or columns? I'm not so sure the right word to use. Is it product field? Is the name called product field? I will know the
Okay,
right
I
field.
word
think
Okay,
to
let me
use.
explain.
tables.
Okay, let me explain field. Field
Okay,
simply means all the data sets that you have. Like it shows you your
okay,
tables, then under the tables, the different columns you have. But I know what you want to speak
okay,
to now is the column now,
okay. So
probably.
it's actually product table, right? It's product table then.
Product
Okay,
table,
so
yes.
on the product is okay, so on the product table, from what I understood, correct me if I'm wrong. So you said you can have all these unique um unique IDs like category product ID, but however, one to many is a situation whereby one you can order for a product, but because you can order for a product, so because products we have different items, different products, maybe probably in the warehouse or within the inventory. So once it is being done from others, you can have multiple product ID. However, once you pick one product, you can go to the others to identify which of the product, and you can have many multiple lines of product because you pick several products. But it's actually a product number, and going to the others because there are several products, so you can actually from there identify all the products that you pick. I think that's what I understood.
Sorry,
Well,
can
maybe
I
I didn't use
just?
the right word.
Nika, please
Hi, I
go
would like
ahead.
to say something.
I'm not sure if I followed.
I would like
And
to
Shama,
say
what do you say?
something. No,
I don't know. Did you understand what she explained?
I quite
Okay,
understood,
let me.
but is there someone else that wants to explain
yeah,
one-to-many
I want to try to
relationship?
say something.
Can,
Just
For
can, can,
this table that has.
I hope you can hear me.
Hannah, we can hear you. Please go ahead.
Okay. I actually joined late too, but I think I picked what you said earlier. That one to many um relationship is like one record in a table can be associated with one or many other records in another table. And you use a product as an example, saying, okay, when you have a product, um, I've forgotten what you product ID in one table, since so many customers can actually order for that same product on another table. So the different orders can be linked to the parent's product ID number in the parents table. So I think that was what I picked from what you said earlier.
Okay, Hannah, thank you very much. I think that's also a bit clearer. And I understand that it was a bit difficult for you because you joined late. So, but I think what Hannah has explained is a bit more explanatory. But what I just wanted to add is, so like Choma had explained before, right? You have one table that is your dimension table and the others are fact tables. Now, the reason why the other table seems to have something from all of the fact table is because the other table being the dimension table is, sorry, being the facts table is the table that contains actual information about all the orders that has been made in the store, for example. Now, this other dimension tables are now giving you more explanation about these different items, like the different categories of products that we have in store, the different salesperson. So when you have a product ID in the order table and you just see a product ID, you don't know what the product is, you don't know other details about the product, you need to go to the product table to find those details. And that's the reason why, or for example, you pick a location ID. It's just a number. You don't know the other details about the location, what city it is, what region it is. You have to go to the location table to find those details. And that's the reason why in each of the dimension tables, you would only have those. That's why she has called those things the I'm forgetting the key name now. Something key and foreign key.
Primary
You
key
only
and
the primary key. So you only have the primary key occurring once in one row, because the reason why that table exists is because we want to tell you more details about product ID zero. Let's say product ID 001. We want to tell you that that product is describing a computer. The computer is in the category of IT equipment and all of that. So we don't need to repeat that product ID over and over in that table. But when you come to the other table, if 10 people bought that product, you have to keep repeating the product ID. And also your sales rep, for example, we have a sales rep whose name is Tunde, maybe is in the team, the West team, and is under this manager. We don't need to list his name 2 times to describe him. But if he sells a product 50 times, then his name will appear 50 times in the order table. So I'm just using that to kind of explain why many times in the place where it is the main key, or why do I keep forgetting the word?
primary key.
In the place where it is the
Primary
primary
key.
key, it will appear only once. But in the other table where it is the foreign key, it will probably appear multiple times, either because lots of people bought the product, or a lot of people from that same location are buying things, or that sales rep is selling a lot of things. So it will occur a lot of times in the fact table and only once in the dimension table. So then you have a one-to-many relationship, meaning that every time you see sales rep Tunde or sales rep Hannah in the other product, and you want to find out more details about the sales rep, about Tunde, you keep referring to that same one column in the sales table that talks about Tunde. So that's why it's a one-to-many relation. You can call it one-to-many if you are saying it's from the sales table to the other table. If you're saying from the other table to the sales table, you call it many to one, depending on where you're starting from. So, but for here, because it starts from the sales table to the other table, is a one-to-many relationship. So that's what, because understanding these things are going to help you when you're preparing your reports and all of that. And like I also said, understanding the content of your data is what will help you to know whether these relationships are correct or what kind of relationships to create. That's why I've taken the pain to explain and if we actually go to the table view and look at all those tables, we would see what I'm saying, how this only occurs once in the sales team, but it occurs multiple times in the order table. I hope I didn't complicate it more.
Was nice. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Yinka. Thank you so much. I think it makes a lot of sense now. I don't know. Do you have any other question? I don't want us to before any other
to
thing again.
overshoot the time, yeah.
Mm. Any other
Please, mine
question?
is not a question. Is it possible to share this video? Because I can see it's
Yeah,
being
we're going to share
recorded.
the
Is this
video. We're going to share the video afterwards. And I don't know why some people are listed as attendees. Are you on our Microsoft Teams channel, everyone here? Have
I
you been added to
registered,
our
but it
Microsoft
didn't
Teams
allow
channel?
me. I don't think I have because I
Are
registered
you
with the link sent earlier. But to my greatest surprise, logging in, it showed me to come in as a guest.
I know you would still come in as a guest, even if you have been added because of the way the team is structured. But did you log in with the same email that you used to sign up?
Yes, I did.
Are you also on our WhatsApp group?
Yes, I am. That's why I got the link.
Oh, okay, and we'll share the video on the WhatsApp group as soon as it's available, shortly after the class, when you upload it on YouTube and we'll share it.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Okay, I think this is where we wrap up for the day, so that by next week, hopefully by the time we might have gone through this on our own and done our own particles, we'll have more questions, and then we'll continue from where we stop next week. Um, Thank you so much for coming. Thank you for bringing out your time to listen to us, and hopefully at the end of the day we'll achieve what the reason for coming here. Yinka, I think that's all from my own side. Any other
Yeah,
thing?
thank you so much, Choma. Like Choma has said, practice is very important. Like, it will look like you know it when someone is doing it, but it is when you actually do it on your own. That's when you can be sure that you know it. And that's why, like we have said, the video will be made available. The Excel file that she used, she has shared it on the channel so we can download it. Please, let's practice this on our own so that we can understand better and even have questions. And I wanted to appreciate Onokwemiko. I was really impressed with how she answered the question that we had given as an assignment last week. It shows that we're really taking this serious. So please, let's just practice, practice, and practice. And we'll see in our next class. Thank you,
Thank
everyone, and
you.
enjoy the rest of your weekend.
Thank you. Good night.
Thank you. Good night.